Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. Today we will get started here now. Welcome to CDE's webinar on how to be a self-advocate. Today we'll talk about just some tips and tricks about how you can advocate for yourself, whether that be in school, at work, in the community, in your place of worship, at the doctor's office. And we'll talk about how the Center for Disability Empowerment can help with those sorts of things through our independent living skills training and through our ILP, our independent living plan. And I'll get into that a little bit later. But first I want to see who all we have here today. So I'm going to pull up a poll and tell us, are you a professional? Are you a self-advocate? Are you a family member? Any of those. So I'll go ahead and pull that up now and give you all a couple of minutes to chime in. Let's go ahead and share these results with everybody. So I see here we've got a pretty good mix. That's really great. I'm really excited to have all of you here. So paving the road to self-advocacy. So what is a self-advocate? For those who may not know, simple term, someone who speaks up for themselves, someone who is able to identify their strengths and weaknesses, their rights and responsibilities, and their wants and needs. Someone who knows what they want to do. Let's say, for an example, post high school, whether you want to go the college route or whether you want to go the work route, or maybe navigating both. Just kind of knowing what your interests are and following down that path. Needs, knowing about accommodations, and that in itself is a whole training on its own. The difference between, okay, I receive modifications in kinder through 12th grade, and that changes when I go to college. When I go to work, I receive accommodations. So where modifications are changing curriculum and modifying things to adapt them to the person, there's accommodations in adult life where nothing's being changed. You're just given tools to help you be on the same level as, say, a person with no disabilities. What is self-determination? So I have here the belief that all individuals have the right to direct their own lives and the motivation that you have to complete a goal. So being of mind to say, I have ABCD goal and I am going to complete it, and this is my long-term goal, and this is the steps I'm going to need to take to complete that goal. What are some barriers to assertiveness? What are some things that may be standing in my way that are not really allowing me to be that self-advocate? Maybe I'm too shy to speak up for myself. Maybe I get frustrated really easily by things when they're not going my way. Maybe I just don't know what to do or where to start. Maybe being afraid of saying the wrong thing. I know I'm guilty of that. Wanting to please others. So settling for things, even though they may not be exactly what you want, but you really don't want to start problems with anybody else. So you try kind of just keep quiet. That's one thing that'll get in your way when you're wanting to be a self-advocate and speak up for yourself. Thinking that no one will understand, and judgment from others. How can self-advocacy help? Well, one, it teaches people about their rights and responsibilities. Knowing what your difficulties are in life and knowing how to speak up for them, that's a responsibility that you carry. And it is your right that even though you have these difficulties, it's your right to get the tools you need to succeed, in spite of, I guess, for lack of a better word, of these difficulties you may encounter. People with disabilities gain independence. So because you're speaking up for yourself, you're not really having to rely on others to do those things for you. Knowing that it is okay to ask for help when needed. Advocating for oneself will boost self-confidence. I know when I'm able to clearly state, I am I'm having difficulties in this particular area at work, and I think I need some extra help. So I go and I have a conversation with, say, my executive director, and being able to speak to her and eloquently and professionally state what I need in order to succeed is really a confidence booster, and really having those conversations over time. Yeah, the first few times are kind of nerve-wracking, but the more you do it, the more confidence you get, and you realize, hey, I can do this. This is easy. I can have these really seemingly hard conversations with people. And it teaches a person with a disability how to assert themselves. Like I said, speaking up for what you want kind of forces you to be assertive. Why is it important to be a self-advocate? You gain independence. We already touched on that. Confidence in all aspects. As adults, it is your responsibility to make your own decisions. So in high school, decisions are being made for you left and right. But the minute you graduate, it all falls on you. And yeah, you're gonna have your support team and your support people there to help you along the way, and you're not totally alone. But you are the person that's making those decisions. And it is your life, therefore your decision is the most important one. And my coworker who is helping me out for tonight brings up a very good point. I did not even state, because I don't know why in my mind, I just kind of assume people know. I myself have a disability. I was born with cerebral palsy, and it's been kind of, how do I say this? So growing up, I had the typical like, oh, I just want to be like everybody else. And I had the typical, I just want to be like everybody else. And I just want to be normal. I just want to fit in. And that was really hard in itself. And then you tack on, I have a very visible disability. It was very hard to be confident and to be that self-advocate until I joined an organization that was truly life-changing, in that they empowered me and motivated me to be a self-advocate and learn all the tools that I need to succeed. I kind of joke, I guess, that I don't know what my life would be had I not been involved with this particular organization. It's, for those of you who probably maybe know what it is, it's Youth Leadership Forum, and it's a seminar for students with disabilities where you learn leadership, advocacy, resources for school, resources for work after you graduate. And it's a really good place to meet other people with different disabilities, not just physical ones. And it teaches you you're not alone, and kind of breaks down those walls that as a person with disability you kind of build up against other people. They kind of come crashing down because, I mean, everybody there has a disability. So Why hide behind that wall? So learning how to make your own choices. Again, and knowing and identifying your own wants and needs, having the safe space to communicate openly, having someone to talk to when practicing self-advocacy skills and specific scenarios. And a couple of tips: never give up if things don't go your way the first time. Have any of you ever heard the term, nothing worth having came easy? That's very true. So don't be afraid to stumble along the way. Don't be afraid to make those mistakes. Advocating at school. So something anybody of any age can do. I've talked on this many times. Understanding strengths and weaknesses, identifying personal goals, knowing your legal rights, participate actively in your IEP meetings, and then let's say college age, making an appointment with a counselor at the Center for Students with Disabilities. I know it's everywhere, it's called something different, but yes. And speaking with professors about accommodations. Those are all really good examples of advocating in school. Some that I have here, one that I have here, maybe sending an email to a professor when you're in college and maybe stating, I am asking for a week extension for this assignment. I haven't been feeling well and I fell behind. So you're advocating for yourself and hoping to get that extension. You can even speak up for yourself at home. Something as simple as making decisions about how you choose to dress. With parents' permission, of course. I don't want to get in trouble with any parents here. Helping with chores, maybe speaking up and saying, hey, I don't mind doing the dishes today. And that's a simple way to speak up for yourself at home. As you get a little older, and I'm still learning this one, managing finances, requesting personal space, renting an apartment, and sharing food costs. If you have roommates, or maybe if you live with parents, offering, hey, I'm working, let me pay for a couple of things here at home. We can advocate when scheduling our own transportation. If we take, let's say you take Coda Mainstream, you have to be the one to make those phone calls and arrange the time and schedule that out. You have to advocate for yourself and you have to know your schedule and plan it out, make those own calls for yourself. And then if you want to go bigger picture, advocating with legislators, learning how to seek them out and Google them online, which are your local legislators, and being able to write them a letter or maybe an email. That's some ways you can advocate big picture in your community. Advocating at work. Maybe you need to adjust your schedule. Maybe you're working and going to school at the same time. So having those discussions, like I said, with your superior. Participating in staff meetings. Asking for reasonable accommodations. So here's some examples for advocating at the doctor. Paying close attention to doctor's orders. Voicing concerns. Maybe you're not feeling well, or maybe you're having a side effect that you are uncomfortable with medication. Being able to speak up and tell your doctor, hey, I'm not feeling too well with this medication. Advocating at church. Maybe you have an interest that you would like to share with your church members and you want to start a peer group or a support group at church. Maybe speaking up to church elders about this new activity or new program that you have in mind. That's a form of advocating as well.
Ms. Jamie?
Yes.
Can I add that with the church, you can even advocate if you need large print bulletins or maybe ramps or more wheelchair parking spaces, things
Mhm.
like that, that would not only would help the person with a disability, but for those that maybe will come later that need that same help.
Mhm. Absolutely. So maybe you're struggling with, well, I don't really know how to get my point across effectively. How do I make sure my words are heard by the person I'm advocating to? So here's some tips here. Make sure you ask questions, and make sure you're listening. So it's not just you demanding. There has to be that back and forth, that communication between you and the person that you are trying to advocate, self-advocate to. Um, Practice what you want to say. If you have to sit in a mirror and practice for an hour in front of a mirror, practice your little spiel, that is perfectly normal. It's amazing to be prepared. Speak to others how you want to be spoken to. Oops. You wouldn't want to come off aggressively to others, because then how are you ever going to get the things that you're looking for? Use appropriate language. Again, if you're cursing at someone, you're not going to get your way. Know when to exit a conversation politely. Be flexible. Definitely use your please and thank yous. And do your research. If you maybe have an idea of a tool that you may need, but you're not too sure, do some research on it. Do's and don'ts of self-advocacy. Be yourself. Get to know your strengths and weaknesses. State your purpose or need. Make sure you make eye contact. Be courteous and direct. Body language and tone of voice is key. Would you guys really want to listen to me if I'm talking like this and I don't really care? Or would you talk to me like this if I were screaming at you? Now I realize that's not screaming, but I don't want to hurt anybody's ears. Keep records of every interaction. Do not ask yes or no questions, ask open-ended questions. And do not make personal insults, accusations, or threats. This is my contact information. If any of you have any questions or maybe just want to chat, there is our office number, and I can be reached via email, jlarmer@disabilityempowerment.net. Our phone number is 614-575-8055. And our address is 510 East North Broadway, 4th floor, Columbus, Ohio, 43214. And that's it for the PowerPoint. Now I want to talk to you all about the Center for Disability Empowerment. Yes, Jessica Stott, Youth Leadership Forum is the name. Now, the one I participated in, I'm originally from Texas, and so that's the one I participated in. Now, there is one here. There's actually 5 regional ones. Shameless plug, we are hosting a Youth Leadership Forum August 3rd through 7th for Central Ohio. And it will be all virtual. You can absolutely reach out to me. The deadline technically did pass for applications, but I am still accepting applications for the next week or so. So if you'd like to shoot me an email, I'll go ahead and put my email again in the chat, jlarmer@disabilityempowerment.net. There is no cost at all. It is open to specifically the Youth Leadership Forum is specifically open to 11th and 12th grade students. You have to be connected to OOD. So either at the very least have an open case with OOD to qualify. And let's see, sign language interpreters available? Yes, we will have sign language interpreters.
Ms. Jamie,
Yes.
talking about the YLF, just going to a conference like that, we do ask people if they have any needs for reasonable accommodations. So we are actually, it's just a form of advocacy where a person that can fill out an application can say, this is what I need. So it's just another form of advocacy. So, Jamie, I would love you to tell them what we do at the Center for Disability Empowerment and the 5 core services, and then maybe really hone in on the independent living plans.
So yes, we are a nonprofit organization that supports all people of all ages with any disability. Specifically myself, I work with youth ages 14 to 24. But as a whole, we serve all age, any disability. And we do this mainly through our 5 core services, that being information and referral. Whatever resources or programs that we don't have, we will find that resource to get you connected. I kind of joke and call ourselves human Google when we talk about information and referral. We also have peer support. We are all people with disabilities, and if a person walks through the door and says they have a disability, we will help them to the best of our abilities. And if someone just needs to talk, like I said, we're all people with disabilities. On some level, we all get it. So there's information and referral, peer support, advocacy, whether that's teaching people how to be self-advocates, or on a bigger systems level, going out and advocating for the person with a disability. We do that as well. So we've got information referral, peer support, advocacy, independent living skills training, and that's just helping people gain the tools to be as independent as they possibly can, whether that's teaching people how to take public transportation or teaching people how to manage finances. A couple of ways that I've helped people, specifically youth, I had a consumer who just wanted to get connected to the community more. And so she really liked cats. So what we did, I found this really cool place close to CDE called Eat Her Love. And it's literally a cafe where you pay an entrance fee and you hang out with cats for 1 hour, hour and a half. And they work in conjunction with, I think, Columbus Humane. It's really cool.
Jamie?
Yes.
Have you ever helped anyone with budgeting?
Yes. Prior to all this craziness with COVID-19, I was actually working with a consumer who I have a specific curriculum for helping people with budgeting and like learning how to open a bank account and what is a checking account, what's a savings account. I have a whole curriculum teaching people how to, from the moment you enter a bank to how to manage a monthly budget. We're working on that. Oh, I thought this was a question, but this was Ms. Deb here. There is a charge for helping, getting help with CDE. There's absolutely no charge at all for that. And really quick, before I forget, the last component of the 5 core services is transition services. And you're looking at that team right here. Ms. Deb Peterman is the one who works with the nursing home transitions, helping people to transition from a nursing home out into the community and all the craziness that that entails. And then I myself work the youth transition. Deb, do you want to add anything to the transition aspect?
Yeah, actually I do. We are going to be planning a future Zoom meeting on the Ohio 811 housing program. And if you're a person that's 18 and over and you qualify, you can be put on a very short housing wait list for total accessible housing. So the program is called Ohio 811, and we will make sure that we get that information for you too. I was just thinking of another independent living plan, Jamie. I remember helping a gentleman who needed to have the process of self-care. So he needed to have maybe in the pictures what he needed to do once he rolled out of bed to get ready to go to work. So just having a picture of the routine so that he can learn a routine. And so that we worked with actually a job coach. We're working with that person to help him identify some of the things that he would like to learn about. And then the other thing that Jamie and her husband did a while ago was online and gaming safety. And so there is a need for people to learn how to use those two things safely. So that's also another possibility for an independent living plan. I mean, even just using phone apps. You know, I had a parent share with me, and I thought, this is brilliant. I don't know about you guys, but I like to listen to what's being said. And when I write stuff down, I kind of get lost in what I'm writing and I'm missing the point. But there's a phone app called Otter, OTTER, and you can actually take that in to your IEP or any meeting that you have, let them know that you are recording it, and it will type out word for word the conversation in that meeting. That way, if you need to listen to what's being said, you won't miss anything because you can always go back to your notes on the Otter app. So I thought that was a cool thing as well.
We had a really good question in the chat, so I didn't type out an answer, but I figured it's probably better to voice it. So we had the question, you're in Central Ohio. Are there branches available in other areas of the state? That's a really good question. Yes, there are 12 centers for independent living in all of Ohio. One way that you can find your particular center, so we cover Franklin, Delaware, Licking, and Union counties. And if you don't, for whatever reason, fall under those four, one really good tool is ilru.org. There's a directory for all centers for independent living in the US, and you can look by state, and it will break it down with contact information, address, and what counties that particular center for independent living serves. So I'll go ahead and put that in the chat, ilru.org. It's an amazing tool. Love it.
I want to also address this, and I know we need to get to maybe unmuting everybody so we can have them just ask questions. But we noticed that many of the people that we help have already graduated from school, and so we're kind of like a secret, and we're trying to let people and teachers and families in the school system know that we are available. We serve all ages, all disabilities. And the independent living plan can work on life skills that maybe you're not learning at school.
I have someone say, can you say the name of the app again, please?
Yes, I'll type it in.
Okay.
It's Otter.
Otter? Like
it's a little animal, busy. Yep, my
wait, that's a
animal.
walrus. Sorry, forgive me.
And another independent living plan might, how do I use my cell phone? We actually have helped someone learn how to use her cell phone.
So,
Sometimes people need it in steps or written down. So that's just another way.
so Deb, we keep mentioning an independent living plan. I don't think we've actually said what it is.
Okay. Do you want to tell it?
So, an independent living plan, when you come in through our doors, I mean, we are a nonprofit, we're still an organization. There is paperwork. So, you do have to either, if someone is available, we can do it right then and there and do an intake and an independent living plan, or we can set up an appointment to do those. Um, they can take anywhere from 15 minutes to a couple of hours, maybe more, depending on the need of the individual. So we do the intake, the general demographics, name, age, address, all, contact information, all that good stuff. And then the independent living plan is where you really hammer out, what are my long-term goals and what are my short-term goals to complete that, and how can we as an organization help you complete those goals. So that's why it can take a very short amount of time to kind of hammer those out, but it can also take a little bit longer, because we really want to get down to the nitty gritty of how can we help you. The amazing part of what I do, particularly, I can't speak for everybody else, but what I do, is my job description is really broad. As long as I'm helping you become independent, whatever that means to you, the options are limitless. Like the fact that I get paid to go on Coda and just ride the bus all day just to teach someone how to use the bus, I think is really cool, because one, it gets me out of the office, and two, it's just interacting with other people. Or I can play with cats all day, and that's part of my job. That's really cool. Um, and so we really use that independent living plan to hammer out, how are we going to help you be independent and be your own advocate and learn how to speak up for yourself and what are your wants, and then helping you and guiding you in identifying not only your wants but maybe your needs as well. Okay,
A person asked about the name of the agency and how to get info on the housing. Feel free to call me. I'm going to put my name and number, and my email address. It's called Ohio 811, and it is one of my favorite programs for a variety of reasons. One, they do have qualifications. You have to be 18 and over. You need to have income, whether it be SSI or SSDI. You need to meet the HUD definition of disability, and have the appropriate ID that one would need during, when they're looking for housing. And I honestly, and I'll help you with that, but we are going to actually have a meeting on that in probably a month and a half from now. We don't have a date yet. But I love the program because it is a tax credit to all these new apartments that are being built. They are asking these apartment owners to offer 3 to 4 totally accessible apartments, and they are all brand new. It's 30% of your income plus utilities. And so this includes people with developmental disability, intellectual disability, people with mental health issues, as long as they're between 18 and almost under 60 years of age. But I love the program because many of the units or the apartments are for people maybe 55 and older, which, maybe a young adult wouldn't like that, but that's where the accessible housing is. And single floor, there's no step, there's elevators. It's just a wonderful program. And it's also in apartments where there are people that are paying full market rate. So it's not all low income housing. So feel free to call me and or email me. I am going to be gone for a week, but I will respond to your email after that.
Does anybody have any questions or any comments, anything at all?
Are there any people that are planning to go to college?
I'm already in college though.
Where are you going?
OSU, I'm in a program there called TOPS.
Very good.
Nice.
We actually just had a post-secondary, so you want to go to college meeting, and that will be available too as well. We did videotape it, and we talked about the TOPS and the TAPS program at the University of Cincinnati. So are you enjoying it?
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Do you have a major?
I major in creative writing and I'm also a theater major.
So creative writing, and what was the other thing?
Theater,
Theater?
like
Oh my goodness.
acting. Yeah,
You are brave.
thank you.
You know what's great about doing the theater is you can actually practice your self-advocacy skills, whether it be in a speech or on a stage in a small group. It's pretty cool. I'm so glad that you are doing that.
Yeah,
Is anybody
I'm also part of an organization at OSU called Best Buddies.
best
And
buddy?
I just became an ambassador when I was 21. So,
Oh my God, you're a busy
yeah,
woman.
yeah.
So what does it mean uh, being an ambassador?
Um, well, it means, speaking up for yourself, like we're doing today, like, so I can't even say the word, it's hard, but
Advocacy?
yeah. It's about that and just writing speeches. And I did a leadership conference in 2018 in July to go to Bloomington, Indiana for a leadership conference that
Oh,
the old program manager asked me to do there, though.
Wow. When
that's
will you be
really
done
cool.
with your program?
I graduate 2 years from now, so 2022.
Wow. So what's the first thing you want to do once you graduate besides getting a
Um,
job? What kind of job?
I I talked about moving to Grandview, Ohio, because a lot of my friends from Best Buddies live down there, and my buddy for I I just started Champion of the Year about 3 years ago, so my buddy is down there though.
So if you are there any high school students still on?
Yeah.
What is your name?
Dylan Uppercue.
Dylan, now where do you live?
I live in Hudson.
And what grade are you in now?
So I'm g- so I'm so I just graduated. So I'm be a freshman in college.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't have a graduation because of COVID, right?
Yeah. Well, they kind of did a graduation, but it was different.
Well, congratulations. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember any time, Dylan, that you maybe self-advocated for yourself when you were in high school?
Like self-advocating to my teachers, my parents at home. maybe at school.
Did you ever go to your
yeah.
IEP meeting, Dylan?
I do go. Sometimes I'm shy, but I know that I do go to my IEP meeting sometimes. But
It's good
good.
that you go because then you can represent yourself.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yes, yes. Has anyone else ever gone to their own IEP meeting?
I don't count.
I did in high school, but they 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 do a college version of an IP meeting called PCP meeting in college. So I did that. So yeah.
I have a question. I noticed that there are some people who are able to describe what their disability is, and then there's some that haven't learned how to describe it, and how, when you're in conversation with someone, when it's necessary to talk about your disability. Did your family help you come up with how to explain that to somebody? And do you really understand what your disability is?
I do.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Yes. Was it helpful to have something ready to say to somebody if they ask?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to know what the right questions are to ask.
Yeah.
Are there any parents on this meeting?
No.
Yes.
We have a parent. Cool.
And how old is your person that you care about?
He's 16. He was here for most of the program, but left. got a little bit tired, so.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we tried to make it a kind of a teenage night because it's a Friday night, but you'll be able to watch the video. Do you have any questions as a parent?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
You know what? Really quick before we go on, I'm gonna put my contact information back up. If anybody has any question, it doesn't have to be self-advocacy related. It could be about YLF. It could be about what I do at the Center for Disability Empowerment. Sorry. Or if you just want to talk about your disability or about options or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me. Let me pull up my information.
I have a question. I see on your website, I was on it as for just a minute ago. I see that you guys do have volunteers and everything, which I think is awesome. What does that entail to be a volunteer, and what exactly goes on as a volunteer?
Let's
I can
see.
answer.
Go for it.
Okay. So we have opportunities sometimes when we are actually going online searching for resources.
Mhm.
So sometimes it may be if someone came in just to answering the phones for us, since we are a 6-person office. Not now, many of us are working remotely, as you can see by my daughter's red room. But it could be even working remotely at your home. Online searches for well, let's say someone's looking for an accessible program that's focused on something specific. We just kind of do the Google search thing, as Jamie mentioned, that, Google's our friend, just like it's yours too. And, or actually, even possibly we're kind of talking about, I know I could tell you about this. Self-determination is starting a phone call program for self-advocates that will call people who need to be encouraged.
Oh, that's great.
So if you go to Ohio Self-Determination, or you can email me, my information's on the chat. I can get you the exact name. It's brand new, but I thought this is brilliant because we're all isolated, and many of you probably can't work, and being home alone is really hard. That maybe that might be a place to volunteer as well. Or if you have Zoom skills, you know how to work Zoom or other technology, we're always willing to learn.
Yeah, that's
I
awesome.
like your red room, by the way.
My daughter loves it too. I actually do too. I usually look really pink, but yeah, it's a nice color. Thank you.
Oh,
I have one more question. If you could think of something that you would want to learn as a self-advocate, what are some ideas that you can give us?
Not being shy.
So practice public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I agree. Not being shy to speak up because a lot of people are really shy to speak up. So yeah, not me though. Most people are shy to speak up, but and need more people to speak up for them. So
Very good. I have a friend named Sandra Williams. Some of you may know her. Sandra is a national speaker on autism. And but when I met her, she was extremely shy, was uncomfortable. And someone had suggested for her to take an acting class. And it was in the acting class, she learned how to practice talking and being in the midst of people talking. So it was a small group, it wasn't a play production, but just that practice of talking out loud, taking those brave steps to put yourself on the line like that. Dylan, have you ever done anything like that?
Personal experience here. When I first joined the Youth Leadership Forum, um, long story short, didn't want to be there. They forced me to get up and present the next speaker. And I had never done public speaking in my life. And it was a room of at least 60 people.
oh,
I get up there and I'm red-faced, looking at the ground and stuttering and shaking like crazy. And I did it and I ran off the stage.
But you did it.
yeah,
sorry?
you did it.
I did it,
Okay.
yes. And that was 12 years ago, and now you can't get me to shut up. And a few years ago, I actually took it to an even bigger scale, and I was asked to be a part of a panel at a conference for 500 people. That was terrifying. But I think it didn't go from like one day to the next. The time span between the initial one to the 500 people, it was at least 10 years. And so in that time, little by little, the more I did it, the more I practiced public speaking, the better I got at it, and the easier it came to me
Yeah,
to actually get up there and speak. And so when I got to that point where I was speaking to a crowd of 500, it was nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie. I was still shaking and I still got red-faced. But it was a lot easier because I did it so many times before. So practice
wow,
sometimes makes semi-okay.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dylan, if we talked about an independent living plan, if you, say that you're very shy, would that be a goal? Is to learn how to do things in front of people, or to practice advocating for yourself?
Yeah, I can already, sometimes I can advocate for myself, but other times I can't. I just don't know why.
Sometimes, in an independent living plan, we might suggest that you write down things that you want to talk about, and then practice talking about it,
Yeah.
and practice explaining it, so that you become more practice at asking for what you want. So sometimes it's just taking that step, and you could call us and we can try to work with a way to get you to connect that way.
Okay.
That sound interesting to you?
Maybe not the writing down part, but I mean, yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be really scared to speak up for myself because at my birth ambassador training, I was 21 when I became an ambassador for the first time, and I was so nervous to speak up for myself. Like I never done that before, so I was nervous. Like
How many of you have been on a Zoom meeting before?
I have.
Me,
I have
I have two.
all the time.
Yeah? Do you remember trying to figure out how to do it?
The first time, yes, but then I got more comfortable with it, and now I know how to do it.
Yeah,
But
we actually finished out my sophomore year in college through a program called Carmen Zoom. So I just figured out Zoom. I didn't know how to work it before, though. My mom had to like help me figure it out.
All right, someone had asked, going back to that question of where they can find out where the independent living centers are. I think it was Kelly. Kelly, where do you live?
I'm in Hancock County.
Hancock County?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll give it a quick look while we're talking here. I see
it's
Zuri just joined
Northwest
us.
Ohio.
Where is it?
Northwest Ohio.
Northwest Ohio. Okay. I'm going to check for you. A question. How many of you have heard of charting the life course?
I have.
I haven't.
Did you actually do it?
I went to the class in Gahanna. Yes, I went to it. I didn't take Zuri, but I went to the class.
Okay. So we're going to be tackling that in the fall. Charting the life course is almost like our independent living plan. And it can be for anybody, all ages, with or without disability. But it's thinking about what goal you may have and how to get to that goal. So I think it'd be pretty cool if we had a youth one, Jamie. Just a focus on charting the life course for youth.
Yeah, we could do that.
I think it'd be fun. All right, so let me look at where that is right now.
Okay. We are going a little bit over time, so I just want to make sure I'm sorry. I am tongue-tied right now. Is there any questions? Anything at all? I want to make sure we catch everybody before we end things. And I'll give Deb just a few more minutes to look up what she was going to pull up for you guys.
It might be Access Center in Toledo. Oh no, the Ability Center. But I'll tell you what, I will email you specifically where that is, the one that's in your location. Do we have
Thank
any
you very much.
advocates? Yeah. Do we have any advocates on this phone?
This is Kelly. I work for the Ohio Coalition.
Okay. So we're working a lot with the Ohio Coalition.
So really quick, for those of you who do want to know, it is ilru.org. And if you, I think it's the top right-hand corner, there's a search bar. If you search Center for Independent Living directory, it'll pull up all the centers for independent living. It'll pull up like a map, and you'll be able to click on the state, and then it'll pull up all the Ohio ones. Thank you all for coming. And again, this will be on YouTube to view at a later date.
If you have any questions, feel free to email us and we will get right back with you. Thanks so much for joining all of us.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
guys.
great weekend.
Have a good night.
You too.
Keep advocating.
I will.
Okay.